as you may have heard, 12 councils have now lined up to make a similar appeal and hope for a similar ruling. So this thing is clearly going to be catching on at the local level. Where will you put all these people? Where will the government put all these people?
Let's remember that there already are very close to 70,000 places in the asylum accommodation system. The reason why we've got hotels is the last government created a system meltdown. It created this huge backlog in the system. And if people are moving through the system and decisions are made in a timely manner, we shouldn't have to use any hotels. So what the government needs to do is it needs to take a large proportion of people out of the asylum system very quickly. And it could do that because there are many people in the asylum system who will be granted protection in the UK because they are here as refugees. If you gave them permission to be here, then you could move many people through the system very quickly, and decisions need to be made more rapidly. At the same time, if someone's case is manifestly unfounded, then that decision needs to be taken quickly. At the moment, the government is moving through in the ordinary way. It needs to create new mechanisms to make decisions far more quickly than is happening at the moment.
Of course, the government says it has considerably sped up the process and is processing many more people than the previous government did, which still leaves an awful lot of people in hotels. Just from their perspective, if you are in one of these hotels, you've escaped civil war in Somalia or in Sudan, how does it make you feel to be suddenly kicked out?
Well, look, we work with people in the asylum system. They are scared. They are very anxious. We were working in the Rotherham Hotel a year ago that was firebombed. People were almost burned out of their rooms in that hotel. There's a lot of fear in the asylum system. We hear a lot, understandably, from communities across the country that are concerned, but we shouldn't forget that the people in those hotels are men, women and children. They are like us and they have lives too. And for them, this is terrifying. And they have a right to have their case heard. And refugees have come to this country for decades. We've always recognized that some will have to take a dangerous journey, and they need to be given the opportunity to have their case heard and move on and rebuild their lives.
But we also know that not just in Britain, but all over Europe, the question of asylum seekers, of what to do about immigration, is politically explosive. And, as you saw with the demonstrators in Epping, they're wearing, the flag of St. George, they're wearing the Union Jack. It's become an issue of national identity. I mean, what does one do about that? It's gone to a different level, hasn't it?
It has. So first of all, we need to dial down the rhetoric, because fanning the flames of division, which I think is happening by some politicians, mainstream politicians, is not helpful. Secondly, we need to understand why people are concerned. And often the grievance is about the predicament in their local communities. It's not simply about asylum hotels. It's about the fact that they feel their communities have been forgotten. There's been a lack of investment, a lack of support for families to move their lives forward. That absolutely needs to be addressed by the government, because unless we address the root causes, then people who have come from other places will always be the scapegoat, will always be the target of people's fears and anxieties. And at the same time, we need to recognize that refugees have come to this country and they've contributed. They've gone on to make incredible contributions in the NHS, working in our high streets, in businesses. And if we tell those stories more and overcome the division and build a deeper understanding amongst communities, I think we can move forward.
Okay, going to leave it there. Enver Solomon, thank you very much indeed.